We are talking, of course, about the primaries, and we're going to begin with the race for governor here in South Carolina.
On the Republican side tonight, it's going to be the Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott and State Attorney General Alan Wilson, as they are the top two vote getters. They will move on to a primary runoff in 2 weeks from today.
Now, on the Democratic side, Jermaine Johnson taking the winner tonight. So right now we're going to begin by checking in with our reporter, Megan Dockshish. She has been there as Jermaine Johnson was taking the stage. So share with us what you have learned about what happens next. And hi there, Megan.
Hi, yeah. Right now I am outside St. John's Baptist Church here in Hopkins, where Jermaine Johnson held his watch party. And it was not that long ago that he received that nomination for the Democratic seat running for governor. Now, he was running against Billy Webster and Mullins McLeod. Right now, we're reporting that he's won about 59% of that vote. He spoke after his nomination and we asked him what is next coming into November's election.
We're going to be back in the grassroots doing exactly what we did to get to this moment here because too many people around South Carolina have felt like their voices have been ignored or have not been heard. And it's time for somebody like myself to go into those communities, talk to those people, meet them where they are and encourage them to be a part of the process. So we'll just be boots on the ground.
He also mentions that Theo Mitchell was the first black man nominated for the governor's seat for the Democratic Party in 1990. And now he is the second African-American nominee in history for South Carolina in the last 36 years to be nominated. Reporting here in Hopkins, Megan Dockshish, News 19 WLTX.
All right, Megan, thank you so much for that report there.
And while Democrats have their nominee for governor, as we mentioned, the Republican race is headed to a runoff in 2 weeks.
With no candidate reaching the threshold needed to avoid a runoff, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott and Attorney General Alan Wilson are set to face off again in a Republican runoff election. Our
Josie Frost has been following the Republican race tonight. She joins us now with the very latest. Josie?
JR, Erica, I am here right now in downtown Columbia at Market on Main, where Alan Wilson held his watch party earlier this evening. And it was a very high energy night for the Wilson campaign. They had a lot of his supporters here as he took the stage and talked about what he is claiming to be a victory moving into this runoff election. Now, there were a couple major things that Wilson touted as he's moving into this runoff with Pamela Abbott. First, he thanked the other candidates and he urged the people who supported some of those other candidates in the election that did not make it to this runoff to come to his side. He mentioned that Nancy Mace told him that she expects to endorse him in moving forward into this runoff. He also talked about making living more affordable. He talked about making the governor more accountable to the people. And he said something he said many times so far in this race, which is that this is a job interview and that the office of the governor belongs to the people. Now, we also got a chance to hear from Pamela Abbott earlier this evening after she also made it into the runoff. And she criticized Wilson. She took a couple jabs at him and called him a career politician and said that he doesn't take a stand. She also touted her Trump endorsement and called herself a steel-spine conservative. Now, she talked about her goals, which are slashing property taxes for South Carolinians, and she's talked a lot about affordability. She also promised to fix roads and fund school of choice options. Now, this is obviously a very consequential run for governor. We've seen our current governor, McMaster, has been in office for the past several years. He is the longest serving governor of South Carolina, and both of them talked about stepping into a big legacy in that regard. Now, I got a chance to have a clip for you with some of those words that they both had earlier this evening. Take a listen.
I'm a 30-year combat veteran and a career prosecutor. I have fought in the courtrooms of this country for our constitutional rights and to put violent criminals behind prison, and I have fought on the battlefields of Iraq to defend and protect our Constitution and our way of life. I will bring that same courage, that same conviction, that same passion, that same desire to fight for you to the office of the governor if you will give me the chance.
And we are going to stand up for conservative voices and conservative values. I will never back down to the woke mob. Over these next 2 weeks, we're going to highlight a very clear contrast between myself and a career politician, Alan Wilson.
Now, of course, the work is not done for these two candidates. It is off to the races for the next 2 weeks. They will both be promising to work hard and campaign over the next 2 weeks to try and get that vote to be the Republican nominee for governor. Erica, JR.
All right, Josie, thank you so much. And the Republican race for governor, as you just heard there from Josie, is shaping up to be one of the biggest stories of this election season, with voters now headed towards a runoff between Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott and Attorney General Alan Wilson. Now, our J.R. Berry sat down with our insiders to break down Alan Wilson's victory speech, his efforts to unify Republican voters ahead of the runoff, and what his message could mean for the next phase of the campaign. Have a listen.
I think that was an excellent speech because you see what he did in there. We've already known that Nancy Mace has endorsed him, and he appealed to all the voters. So he complimented all the people that he was running against, and he said, appealed to those voters and said, "You have a home here. You forced me to be a better candidate. If I wasn't your first choice tonight, in 2 weeks I need you." So I think I was well prepared. Well done.
John?
Absolutely. And again, he's showing exactly the right. This isn't his first runoff. He's done this before, and he understands that he has to be a coalition builder right now. He has to unify. He has to reach out to those that didn't pick him first. All those things get put in the past and start building a network there. I think he's showing a lead beyond reaching out to the voters that are listening. He's also showing a lead on reaching out to the other candidates in the race, having Josh Kimbrell and Nancy Mace, the bottom two candidates, already endorsing. We'll see where Ron Reddy and Ralph Norman go before this runoff is over. He also highlighted affordability, which has been a key issue on both sides of the party. Many people are struggling today, and Alan Wilson is the only candidate that has made the gas tax and temporarily suspending the gas tax to make life easier for those that are struggling to make ends meet a priority and a centerpiece of his campaign.
Any surprises from you, Mr. Felder?
Not really. He announced his running mate, which we've known about for some time now anyway. That certainly is going to help him in some communities. So, but his response here was very good, I thought. He well prepared, took to some of the issues that we're concerned about.